Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much to Raymond for the lovely music to start us off tonight. And we have a few folks with us this evening to speak, and I'm going to kick us off. My name is Maggie. I'm the Executive Director of Protect Minnesota. We are the state-based, statewide gun violence prevention organization here in our state, working to make sure tragedies like what happened today never happen again. And I wish that I had words to express what we're all feeling. I don't know that there are words. I'm going to tell you what happened to me today, which is probably what happened to a lot of you, is that I heard news that there was a mass shooting at a Catholic school here in the Twin Cities. And my little sister is a music teacher at a Catholic school here in the Twin Cities. And the first thing you think is, it finally came from me. It came from my family, and then I found out that it didn't. And the first thing that I felt then was relief, and the guilt that goes along with that, because there are 20 families today who don't get to feel that relief, who heard the news and were so scared, and instead of feeling relief, they are going to feel grief and trauma for the rest of their lives. And I'm so sad and I'm so angry, because the truth is that this doesn't have to happen. And not only does it not have to happen, it didn't just happen today. Yesterday there was a mass shooting outside of Cristo Rey, and 6 people were shot. 2 other people were shot in acts of community gun violence overnight. This problem is with us every day, all of the time. And if you're here today with us for the first time, we are so happy to see you. We are so happy to be in community with you. We're so grateful and overwhelmed that we're here for the purpose that we're here. And my ask for you tonight is, please don't let this be the last time that I see you. Please join us to make sure that this doesn't happen again to any other neighborhood, any other family, any other community ever at all. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to our speakers. I'm going to invite KG up to the mic to share his experience with us.
Good evening, everybody. First, I want to give my condolence to the families who lost their loved ones on this morning. They lost their loved ones on this morning at this mass school shooting. You have my sympathy and my empathy. I definitely hate that you have to feel or experience what me and some other families have felt and experienced before you this morning. My condolence also goes out to the families who lost their loved ones on yesterday. In another mass shooting. They definitely have my condolence also. And about 2 o'clock this morning, I got a call from one of my close friends that his nephew was shot and killed on 8th and Hennepin, which I just left there doing their vigil for their family. Like the speaker before us just said, enough is enough. Enough is enough. When is it going to be enough? My personal experience, 2 sons shot. One son shot years ago, North Minneapolis on Broadway and Fremont in the neck. Another son was shot in the stomach. I had a cousin that was shot and killed over a dice game in North Minneapolis. Another nephew that was shot in the pizza place in the back while he was fighting another young man. And my same son that was shot years ago on Broadway in Fremont, his 6-year-old daughter, which is my granddaughter, was shot in North Minneapolis in 2021 while she was sitting in the back seat of the car eating a Happy Meal. Maybe weeks or maybe just a month before that, 2 other children were shot. One was killed while playing on a trampoline, and the other one was in a car, and he was shot. He survived, but he is still trying to recover from that. But this is all from senseless gun violence, and like I said years ago, I heard Moms Demand Action and Protect Minnesota, who I worked with years ago, screaming and yelling at the Capitol over and over, screaming on the internet, steady trying to pass bills for stronger laws for these guns, and I still have not seen it happen yet. I personally believe that a lot of these shootings that happen would not have happened if it wasn't so easy to purchase a gun. I'm gonna say this and quit. Sadly, I can't speak for over here, but being and working in Minneapolis in the streets as a national peace activist for 22 years, it is unbelievable that you can go in North Minneapolis and be able to go to a corner store, a McDonald's, a liquor store, a convenience store, whatever, a gas station, and purchase a gun just like you are purchasing a pack of cigarettes. That's sad right there. That's sad right there. That's disaster. That's dangerous, that's deadly. And for some, it's almost hopeless because it has been going on for years. And it puts somebody's child in danger or making them become a fatality just like our children did and just like the children who lost their lives here this morning at this school. There should be no way, no how that somebody should be able to get a gun and just put in their mind to go and cause mass destruction, violence, and death, innocent death in no community, especially when there's groups and people and activists who have been speaking out against this time and 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 time again. I'm telling you, man, in my close, I never, ever thought that I would get a call that my 6-year-old granddaughter, innocent 6-year-old sweet angel granddaughter, was shot in her head and killed. There is nothing that would have prepared me for that. And I'm quite sure the people who lost their children, innocent children today in school, nothing would have prepared them for nothing like that. So my question to you, what are we gonna do to keep this from happening again? What are we gonna do to protect our children in our community, protect our seniors in our community? When are we gonna start living more and dying less? My condolences goes out to all the families and to the communities who are hurt by what has happened. This is terrifying, this is tragic, and this is gonna take some healing. But I see what I'm looking out here now. You families that this happened to today, this is a lot of healing, and the people that came out here today for you. God bless you all, peace.
Thank you, KG. Next, I'm going to welcome up the council members from this district, Councilmember Koski and Councilmember Palmisano.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Emily Koski, and I'm here with Lynnhurst Palmisano. We represent this community. Most importantly, we represent the families of Annunciation. And tonight, we are here as parents. We are here as moms who are beyond heartbroken for the unimaginable that happened this morning at Annunciation. Both of us understand what it feels like to walk your child to school and think this is the place that they're going to be safe. And today, when those students sat in church praying and hoping for the most amazing year ahead, that was wiped away from them. It is going to be beyond difficult for all of us to wake up tomorrow, for those students and for students across the entire state to think, how am I going to go to school? How are these students next Tuesday, who is going to be their first day, how are they going to go to school? And here's what I'm going to say. I hope that each and every one of you looks around, because the strength, the love, the hope that I see here tonight being with all of you, take that, hold it, wake up that morning and go to school, be there together. It's amazing to be here with all of you tonight and be here to celebrate and connect with each other about how we can support one another through this.
I'll just add that we see every one of you here tonight across these several fields. Thank you. It means so much to the Annunciation community that you're here to light a candle, that you're here to be part of this. Emily and I spent the day in part at Annunciation and part at City Hall, and we really want to thank the first responders. We really want to thank the law enforcement who were in extraordinarily stressful situations, and we want to center this on the kids. You know, KG led us off, and thank you, KG, for your bravery. I know him through other circumstances in my life, but through all of the conversations we've had today, whether with the park superintendent or the county attorney or others, they've all listed their connections to Annunciation School and to families there. We hold these families in our hearts. We all do, everybody here on this field, and we hope that that gives you strength.
Thank you so much, council members. Next, we're going to hear from Mayor Fry.
What happened this morning was an unspeakable tragedy that should never happen. And then again, how many times have you heard a politician at a microphone saying exactly that? It's clear to me, based on the number of people who are in pain right now and who are here with us, that we are a city united in grief. Let us take the next step to be a city united in action. I think we've all felt the pain from the families, and we know that as a collective Minneapolis community, what we need to be doing right now is wrapping our arms around them. The amount of grief that they are feeling, the pain, this is their worst day of their entire life. And what I feel right now is a city that stands up for one another, that does the right thing by their community, and that recognizes that right now, while thoughts and prayers are great, they are not adequate. These children were literally praying at this moment. I'm so grateful to the teachers and the faculty at Annunciation that threw their bodies on top of children. They did the right thing to protect what could have been so many more children dead. I'm grateful for our first responders and our police officers, not just from Minneapolis, but around the state, who ran towards danger when so many of the rest of us could have ran in the opposite direction. And I also want to take this opportunity in calling us all to action to recognize that we shouldn't just think of these kids as somebody else's kids. Think of them as your own kids. Think about the last thing that you told your son or daughter when you said goodbye to them this morning. The gentle kiss on the cheek, a few kind words, shoving them a pack of applesauce. You should be able to do that with the confidence that you're going to see them again that evening. You should be able to do that with the belief that our schools, our system, our society can keep these kids safe. Because these beautiful children at Annunciation, they should not have to go through this right now. They should be learning math and playing at recess and messing around in a cafeteria and playing with their friends. That's what childhood is about. But what we know is that far too often people are robbed of that childhood because of this senseless gun violence. And don't let anybody tell you that it's not about guns, because it is. When you have more guns than people in America, you got a problem. When we experience these acts one week and the next month the same action takes place again, you got a problem. When we see other countries around the world that experience senseless gun violence, say they're going to do something about it, yet here we are. Why have we not taken the necessary action to stop our children from dying? This is not about hating one community, a community that's pushing back or stopping us. This is not about hating anybody. This is about love of our kids, which is the most basic and profound love that you can possibly provide. And so each and every one of us must commit to making this all mean something greater than just the words. We need to have true gun reform right now. Not tomorrow, not the next day. So, from the bottom of my heart again, we're with these families. Please do everything possible to love them. Love them as your own. Wrap your arms around them. Minneapolis is a very special place. And in this moment, we don't need to simply be united in grief. We can be united in action, and each and every one of you can be part of it. Let's make the change now.
Thank you, Mayor Fry. Our next speaker is Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan.
Good evening. As we were walking up to this field, I was struck by how many people just kept coming. And in this moment, we need people to keep coming so that this kind of evil and this kind of violence is untenable in our communities, because there are so many people who have come to say enough. The first responders, the teachers, the fellow students, the older students who covered the bodies of their classmates as the gunfire began, the clergy, the comforters, the incredible health professionals who got right to work to repair these little bodies. We have incredible gratitude for all of the helpers. And to the parents and to the families who lost their little ones today, the state of Minnesota sends our greatest comfort and condolences to you. And we are incredibly sorry for your loss. And our hearts break with you, and you are not alone. You are not alone. And I'm here as the lieutenant governor, but more than anything, I am here as Siobhan's mom. I am here as a Catholic and a parishioner at Ascension in North Minneapolis. And as we hear people continue to say, why would God let something like this happen? Why would God let something like this happen? Friends, God weeps. Jesus weeps in this moment because we have free will and we have been given all of the tools necessary to stop this violence against our children. If we have the courage, and as we watch people continue to come year after year after year to the Capitol and demand more, you must continue coming to the Capitol. You must continue raising your voices. You must continue to pray and turn that prayer into action. And we are here together to do just that. And at Annunciation, the theme of this school year was Jeremiah 29, which is a future filled with hope. Hope is a choice. Hope is a decision that we get to make every single day. And so I would ask you to make that choice, to hope, to make that choice, to say we see the evidence that is before us in this moment. We see people who say, oh, we can't do that. We see people who say, oh, that's too much. And with our hope, we turn it into action and say, not one more baby. Not one more child, not one more faith community, not one more school, not one more public place where folks should just be able to play and be themselves. Because people just keep coming to say enough. So my words, I echo what Maggie said, that if this is your first time here, welcome to this fight. Welcome to the struggle. Welcome to this march for hope and for our children to say enough is enough. We have been waiting for you. And there is an incredible amount of work for us to do in partnership with one another. So if you have stepped up to answer the call, we welcome you and we will continue to do this work together. Chimigwich, take care of yourselves, take care of your spirits, and know that the antidote in this moment to the evil that we saw this morning and that we saw yesterday and that we continue to see is a radical love that calls for justice, is a radical love that says we need to love our babies and our children more than our guns. And that if you have that courage to stand up against it, I will stand with you, and we are standing together. Our love is greater than that evil, and we are on the right side of loving our babies. May God watch over the families who lost their loved ones, and may we let them know day after day after day they are not alone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor. Our next speaker is Attorney General Keith Ellison.
Dearly beloved, it is right and it is just for us to send thoughts and prayers to the victims of this horrible crime. But my thoughts and what I'm thinking about is a national ban on assault rifles. My prayer is a national ban on these assault rifles. And you should know that when we used to ban them assault rifles, we used to keep a lot more people alive than we do now. We need to think and pray about banning these weapons of war. My thoughts are about the lawsuit I filed against Glock. And my prayer is that we make them change that damn gun so that they can't just turn it into a machine gun by putting a $10 doohickey in it. My prayer is that a retailer, or gun retailers that sell guns over the counter will actually check the credentials and the behavior of people they sell guns to, because a lot of them people are buying guns for people who are illegally trying to get them. That's called a straw purchaser, and I'm suing one of them in town right here, right now, and we're gonna make them knock it off. We're gonna make them stop it because they cannot put these weapons of death on the streets anymore. My thoughts and my prayers, yes, I'm thinking, I'm praying. Thoughts and prayers, baby, you bet, about what we are going to do. I'm praying for a Supreme Court that will not green light guns on the streets of our nation. I'm praying for that. That's what I'm asking God for today. Thoughts and prayers, absolutely. But don't just say, oh, thoughts and prayers, and you ain't really to do anything about it. Because every time a tragedy like this happens, people like you and me who mourn, we do show up at the Capitol, and we do show up at the state legislature. We do fight these things. We do. It's not like we've been missing in action, but somebody comes and they outweight us. They wait us out, friends. After the march, they wait us out, and then they come in and they spread their campaign donations around, and they send them campaign donations to people who can come up with every reason in the world why weapons of death should be on our streets. And I'm telling you, no politician come to me talking about thoughts and prayers and you won't vote for a national ban on assault weapons. Do not do it. Don't come talking to me about that, because that's a lie and you don't really mean it. We need, and I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to be partisan tonight, but I am going to be political. Because the fact that these guns proliferate on our streets and that no nation in the world that's not in an active war has as much gun deaths as the United States. Not Canada, not New Zealand, not England, not France, not Uganda. We are number one when it comes to gun deaths. And do you know what the leading cause of death for our babies is? It is guns. It's not roller skating. It's not, traffic. It is guns. It is guns, friends. And sometimes I do weep and shed a tear in a silent moment. But then I use them thoughts and them prayers to get my butt back in gear to fight this evil that's on our land. Because it's not about the right to bear arms for these people. It is the right to sell arms. And that is what this is about. Friends, do you know after mass shootings, guns usually sales go up? Did you know that? Did you know gun sales spike after mass shootings because people think, I'm afraid I better get one. And the people who own these companies say, awesome. They literally profit off of death. Somebody is looking for a paycheck tonight because of what happened at Annunciation Church School this morning. Shame, shame, shame. And I'm telling you, we got to stick and we got to stay. And we got to outlast these people who are looking for these paychecks after the murder of our children. We got to be longer than them. We got to be more persistent than them. And when we do that, we will make peace on this earth. Love you.
Thank you so much, Attorney General. Next up are remarks from Representative Emma Greenman and Senator Zainab Mohammed, who represent this area in the state legislature and Senate.
Thank you all for being here tonight. We are shattered and heartbroken and join communities in the state and around the country who have been here before. We are thinking about the families of those 2 beautiful children, the 17 children, the 14 children and 3 parishioners who were injured, the Annunciation family, and all of our family, because what you know, if you live in South Minneapolis or Richfield or maybe Edina, you may have bought your Christmas tree at the Annunciation lot. You may have given blood in Annunciation. You may have had your kids or be a kid who went to Girl Scouts there. They are a center of our community for both their kids who went there, for their families, for the parishioners, but also for everybody across Minneapolis, across the South Metro. And we know that there's many of you here who are crushed and are feeling that tonight it is really hard to think about how we move forward. And I'm there, I'll be honest. It is hard because we know that there are other communities who have had this happen, and yet it happened here again. We know because there are kids who are not going to go back to school tomorrow, and many more who are terrified of a place that should keep them safe. And they join kids who have been in movie theaters and in grocery stores and their families. Everyday people should be safe doing their everyday things. So I just want to, there's so many words, and I'm so grateful for the entire community. I just want to end with something that Principal Matt Du Bois said this morning at the press conference. He said, he quoted a proverb that said, "When you pray, move your feet." So I want to ask you here, wherever you're at today, look to your neighbor, introduce yourself. I know that this is a very Minnesota thing not to do. Maybe shake their hand, maybe give them a hug. Because when you pray, move your feet, but we know we have to move our feet together. And this is a good start, and there's a long way to go, and there are people around the country calling and saying, this has to be the last time. So when you pray, move your feet, and remember, we will do this together.
Hi, everybody. I am Zainab Mohammed, and I'm the state senator of this district. Thank you for being here. I am, like all of you, devastated for our community, devastated for the parent who will not have a child to go home to tonight, devastated for the parents who are spending the night at the hospital with their kids, devastated for the parents who have to think about what it means for them to send their kids back to school, for our teachers who had to experience this, for our neighbors, for our community. But we're not alone. We're joining hundreds of families that experience this in communities across the country. Over 500 school shootings happen, and that is unacceptable. Unacceptable that our community, that our parents have to send their kids to school hoping that that's not the last time that they're gonna see their child. Unacceptable that kids have to hug their parents hoping that that's not the last time they're gonna see their parent. No one should have to live like that. When I think about this moment in this community, I'm thinking a lot about how this moment is going to change our community forever, fundamentally. It certainly changed those kids and their lives forever. And you'll hear a lot from leaders. But while you're here in South Minneapolis, what I want you to do is get to know our neighbors, understand the pain that they're feeling, but more than anything, what you can do is reach out to your leaders and tell them they can do more. They can do more. We banned red flag laws. That's not enough. We banned background checks. That is not enough. Weapons of war have no place in our communities. They have no place in our schools. This isn't a political speech. It isn't a right or wrong or left. It isn't a left or right issue. It's just what morally has to be done for our kids. And so thank you for being here. Hug your kids, your family, and your loved ones, and we appreciate you for being here today.
Thank you so much. We have a few more speakers, and then we're going to have some prayer. But before we get there, there's a number of organizations that are here today that I want to make sure that I acknowledge, and that's because we know that the work didn't start today. The work started decades and decades ago, and there are folks who are on the street every single day, boots on the ground, saving lives. And without them, our communities would look much worse. And I just want to make sure that I thank them for what they've done over the past several years, several decades, and for their presence today, calling for a change. So Restorative Justice Community Action is here. Agape is here. Change Starts with Community is here. Save Our Sons is here. Metro Youth Diversion is here. Touch Outreach is here. Restoration Inc. is here. One Sound North is here. Hope Project MN is here. Don't Shoot Guns, Shoot Hoops is here. Mad Dads are here providing security for us tonight. So if you see the folks, thank you so much for being here. If you see the folks in the green t-shirts who are patrolling around the park and around the perimeter, they are here making sure that we are all safe tonight. And they do it every single day on the streets of Minneapolis, so please make sure that you thank them. Thank you to the police and the first responders who were at the school this morning. Thank you to the parks who allowed this to happen, the firefighters, and to HCMC who received the victims this morning, and the doctors who worked on them to save their lives. Grief and trauma counseling will be available at Creekside United Church of Christ tomorrow and Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So if you feel that you need it, please take advantage of that. And one more quick shout out to our partners in planning and executing this event, Moms Demand Action, who are there by our side, leading with us every step of the way to make this a state where gun deaths don't happen. So thank you so much to every partner who is on the ground keeping our communities safe. You don't get enough recognition for it, and we're so grateful you're here this evening. And for those I left out because I haven't bumped into you yet, I apologize, and I hope to see you tonight. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our next speaker, Senator Amy Klobuchar.
Thank you. I just got here. I was at Holy Angels with some of the families, and this is just doesn't surprise me that we have such an incredible group gathered here today. I met one of the families that lost their child today, And when you saw them huddled together, the sister doesn't have a sister anymore, holding her little bear, it hit home just what happened here this morning. You think about that family dropping their child off, week school, the joy of seeing who's your new teacher, seeing your classmates again, and it ends here. And what I keep telling people across the country, and I thought Emma and Zaina did such a beautiful job of talking about this community. I talked to them about, yes, this is a school and a church on a hill, but right next to that school and that church is a house, and then another house, and then another house, and then a shop, and then a restaurant, and then another school. This community is incredibly strong, and today I saw the neighbors sitting out on their lawn chairs just to give each other a hug. And I saw people bringing food, and I saw people embracing these kids. These families are gonna need a lot of that over the next months. And yes, there are major policy things. I have long, I think you all know, been an advocate for changing our laws ever since way back in my time in the Hennepin County Attorney's Office. But the only way there's gonna be that kind of courage is if, as Emma noted, people stand up. Because these vigils, these beautiful vigils like this took place after Uvalde, and they took place in Buffalo, and they took place in Nashville, and they took place in Florida, and they took place in Connecticut. But every time there's more and more families, there's more and more people. So my prayer tonight is this is the vigil that makes a difference. That the stories of these families that I talked to tonight, when they get through their grief enough to tell them, when people hear the stories of the older kids literally laying on top of the little kids, and the teachers' heroic actions, and the members of the church, they should not have to do this. Sixth graders should not have to protect first graders. We should be doing that. So let us take this tremendous love of this vigil, and yes, continue to give it to this community and this family, but then let us turn it into action. Thank you.
Thanks, folks. A couple more speakers and then prayers. Next up is Congresswoman Andy Craig.
South Minneapolis, I wanted to be here with you this evening on behalf of every single one of my constituents in the 2nd District of Minnesota who mourns with you tonight on your loss. Thank you to the incredible first responders who undoubtedly save lives today. Thank you to our healthcare professionals at HCMC at Children's who we know save lives today. But before I conclude, I just want to tell you that I come before you as a mother of 4 sons, as a grandmother of 3 little babies. And just as we were getting the word that this had happened today, a first day at school photo of my nearly 4-year-old grandson came up on my phone. Folks, we do not have to live this way in America. We don't have to live this way. The weapons of war that are on our street, we can do something about it. So I ask every single one of you here tonight, this extraordinary gathering of Minnesotans, I ask every single one of you who hear our words that it is up to us as a community to demand more from our lawmakers, to fight, to make sure that these weapons of war are off our street. Folks in this country talk about freedom a lot. I talk about freedom a lot. How about the freedom to take your child to school and not be shot? How about the freedom to go to church or your mosque or your synagogue and not be shot. Folks, if we're going to fight for freedom, let's fight for the freedom from gun safety in our country. Thank you.
Thanks, folks. Our last speaker of the night before we pivot to some prayers, community time, and reflection is a Representative Ilhan Omar.
Good evening, everyone. I said that to someone earlier as I was walking in the neighborhood. And he looked at me and he said, "Nothing is good, Congresswoman." And I felt that this morning when I woke up. I saw the news. One of my staffers sent me. And as I do with any gun violence, I forward it to my eldest daughter, who's been particularly active in ending gun violence in our country. And she quickly ran into my room and she said, "Mom, did you know the kids were praying when they got shot at?" And we both just stood there. And that hit hard because you hear politicians, when tragedies like this take place, call for prayer. Because we all understand the power of prayer to heal, to comfort, to uplift. But the kids were praying when they were assassinated. So what does that tell us? That tells us that there is something fundamentally broken in our society. There is something fundamentally broken. And as my brother Keith Ellison said, we don't get to have thoughts without taking action. We don't get to pray without uplifting others. And it is important as this community comes together that we do, yes, pray for the families that have lost their precious angels this morning. And yes, we pray for the families that are currently in the hospital, wishing and praying for recovery. But we also, as the principal said, pray and walk, because that calls us to take action, to end the thing that continuously makes this country unique in being able to mourn the death of their children and carry on as if nothing has happened or as if there is nothing that they can do. Many nations around the country have been visited with this tragedy, but they recognized that they had a power to change in order to make sure that that tragedy wouldn't visit their communities again. What makes us so helpless? How can we call ourselves great as a nation if we cannot protect the most precious, which is our children, our future? On the anniversary of Columbine, when my daughter led a school walkout, she visited me as a state legislator. And she said, "Mom, you were in high school when Columbine happened. If you guys did something, we wouldn't have to have a walkout nearly 20 years later." And so it is up to us to make sure this tragedy does not visit any other community in this country ever. And we do that by reminding folks that you can change whatever laws that you want in Minneapolis. You can change whatever the laws that you want in Minnesota. But if we do not change the laws of these United States of America, none of our kids are going to be safe. Because Minnesota is not a country. Minnesota is part of a union. The people who have access to guns around this country are our neighbors. They don't get to have a passport and come in here. They can just drive. So this fallacy that we make ourselves believe that because we live in this great Minnesota, that we are protected is a fallacy. Because it is going to take national protection for all of our kids in these United States to be protected. And I am committed, so as everyone you heard from, in pushing for that on a national level. But I hope that commitment gets to be shared by the other leaders in our nation. A commitment that they are going to love our children more than they love their guns. That it is important that we are free from the violence of guns in this country. And that we are free to see our children become adults and raise their children. Because we owe it to them as the adults who made it from children. So thank you.
Thank you to our political leaders for being with us tonight. And what I want to say before we pivot to some community time and prayer is thank you for those commitments to addressing this, and we'll be there every step of the way in partnership with you and to make sure that it happens. Next, we're going to welcome up Imam Jelani Hussein and Imam Ali to lead us in some prayer.
As it was said earlier, first and foremost, I want to greet you all with a greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May peace and blessings be upon you all today. This morning, darkness befell on our beautiful community. The kind of darkness that we wished would never come here. When our houses of worship are attacked, all of our houses of worship are attacked. When our schools are attacked, all of our schools are attacked. And most importantly, when our children are seen as simple as what it was seen this morning, and they are attacked, and they are not safe, then something different has to happen. We are not in loss of words. We are in rage. But in this moment, God reminds us that whoever takes a soul is that it has taken mankind complete. And the one who saves a soul or a life, it is that who has saved mankind. This morning, mankind was shaken. These two beautiful souls that we lost, and the countless others who are in pain tonight, we pray for their speedy recovery. As much has been said, but I will leave you with a little bit of hope. This darkness has befallen on other communities before us. But tonight, I ask all of you, our great state of here in Minnesota, this incredible community here, and to all of you who have gathered this evening, we here in Minnesota can make a stop to this. The whole world is watching us tonight. They're hoping that the same playbook may be changed, and we here tonight need to make that commitment to ourselves. No speech or statements will move you. What you leave here with and what you commit to yourself will be what will move our nation and, most importantly, our state. When a great tragedy like this comes, the question always is, why? And the answer must be because we can do something different. Something radically different. When they come for our children, we must do something different. When they come for our babies who are in the middle of prayer with their friends, something different has to happen. A war on children is a war on the last stop that we have. And I want to say this, because we've been talking to the adults. I want to speak directly to our children, some of us who are with us this evening. We love you. We see you. We understand you may not be able to make sense of what is happening, but we want to tell you, you are the best thing that we have on this earth. Promises have been made before, but we are going to make it a little different. Here in Minnesota, the goodness that we have, we must use that in these moments. And as others have said, we need to make this faith and this faith community, this school, Annunciation Catholic School, and this community feel the warmth of this great state. You know, my father one time was asked, why did you come from Somalia to this cold place? And he reminded me by saying something very profound. He said, we found a cold place, but we found people with warm hearts that kept us here. I pray that we find in Minnesota the best. And in this moment, we meet it as Minnesotans. Faith communities across this state, we call upon you this upcoming weekend on Friday or Saturday or Sunday service to remind your parishioners the most important thing, which is we are all protectors of each other. When they come for one of us, they come for all of us. And we must move and act in that way. No sanctuary is safe after today. No school is safe until after today. No mosque or church or synagogue is safe after today. We have to make it safe. We have to stand up. And one last thing I want to remind, we are hurting as a nation. We are more polarized than ever before. This is not the moment to speak to the people that know you and love you. Speak to those who don't even recognize you. Let us reach each other in this moment of great pain and remind us of who we are, children of God. If we can reach out to each other, we can prevent the next act of evil, because we would create a bondship of love that every stranger is our friend, that every person on the other political side is our friend. We may disagree on issues, but we protect each other's children. And to the beautiful children, we have your back. We have your back. No matter what it takes, we will make every single school safe. And to the teachers and to the many people who are on the front lines, we say to you too, we have your back. I personally make that commitment, and I hope every single one of you makes the same commitment. In this greater Minnesota, we can do things a lot different. We can be the shining northern light for this nation. We can stop this here and send a different tone to the rest of the country. But it requires every single one of us to do something different. And I pray to that, because God in this moment is looking upon us to see what we do next. And if we say we are good people, then let our goodness show brighter than the evil that dawned upon us this morning.
Assalamu alaikum, peace be with you all. In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. Today, in this evening, we come together to hold on to faith and hope, especially in this difficult moment. My words are inadequate to describe the pain that this community is experiencing, especially the two parents who have lost their child in this terrible tragedy. My sincere condolences to those families and their loved ones. And I pray for the speedy recovery of those who are wounded in this terrible tragedy. When we come to a gathering like this, yes, it's a tragedy. We all feel pain and the sorrow and sadness. But we have to keep hope. We have to maintain hope. This tragedy is particularly heartbreaking because the victims are children. At the church, the Annunciation Church, where people come, children and families, to seek solace and peace, they don't deserve this. And as I stand here today on behalf of the Muslim community in South Minneapolis, we stand with you in solidarity, and we care about you and we love you. There is a beautiful passage in the Quran that reminds us to hold on to hope and faith, especially in a precarious moment like this. God says, do not lose hope in God's mercy. Today, we are hopeful. We choose faith over fear and hope over despair. This is what faith teaches us. And I pray to God the Almighty that He protects our children, our families, our places of worship, and that He protects every one of us as we come today to remember the two beautiful children that we lost. We have to remember that we have a common responsibility to protect the rest of our children, regardless of who they are. A tragedy like this will not divide us, it will unite us. Thank you very much, and may God bless you all. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Imams Jalani and Ali. Next up, we have from Shiloh Temple in North Minneapolis, Jalila, who is the Executive Director of Change Starts with Community, and Bishop Howell. And I'm so sorry, I forgot to mention that Jalila is going to be joined standing with her on stage in solidarity with Cortez Rice, who is the father of Jamari Rice, who was shot and killed in Richfield in 2022.
At school as well. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." And I want to speak to the youth and the young people here today, and I want you to know that you don't got next, but you got now. And we are looking out for you, and we see you, and you have a future and a hope. Now, we don't have to agree on everything tonight, but what we can agree on is that it's time to do something. That's my main message here tonight. It is time to do something. But we also know that if we're going to solve the problem of gun violence, then we've got to look at the root causes as well. And that means making it easier to pass common sense gun laws and for young people to get access to mental health treatment that they need. We should have gun violence prediction, prevention, and policies. to prevent the #1 public health that is killing children and our youth, which is gun violence. It is time to do something. Let us pray. God, I pray that you allow the shootings to end. God, our hearts are broken with pain at the senseless death caused by gun violence. Families are mourning, children are living in fear and trauma, and some in our nation will respond by arming themselves with more guns because of greater fear. I pray that our disconnect and alienation calls us to come back into love, calls us to turn back into protecting one another and loving our neighbors as we love thyself. I pray for safety tonight. I pray that you would touch every family tonight. I've worked in the hospital. I think over the last 3 years, I've watched over 150 people die at HCMC, at North Memorial. I've buried the kids. I buried his son. I've buried most of the people you heard talking here tonight. I buried those young people and watched them take their last breath. You haven't heard screams like the parents who have to bury their children unexpectedly because their light was cut off by someone who decided to take violence over love. It's time for us to choose love again. I pray that love begins to come back in our community. I pray that love begins to flood our homes again. I pray that love begins to flood our churches again. I pray that love begins to flood our schools again. And I pray that love begins to flood our neighbors again. We need love. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. That is what Martin Luther King said. I pray that we seek peace to resolve our differences, that we let our hands reach out and connect with those who feel alone, with those who live in fear, and those suffering from mental illness. Let our voices be raised, asking our legislators to enact gun violence laws that actually work. If you want my vote, protect me. If you want my vote, protect my children. If you want my vote, protect my grandchildren. If you want my vote, protect my legacy. If you want my vote, preserve my life. We deserve to live. And I pray for those that are the most vulnerable in our society. I thought about those kids praying. I'm a pastor at Shiloh Temple. With our nonprofits, we see and serve over 8,000 people on a monthly basis. That's a lot of people. A lot of them are suffering with mental illness. Anytime I'm thinking about my life, but I also think that gun violence and laws should be passed to protect me. That as a pastor, I shouldn't have to be afraid going down the street talking to somebody. I shouldn't fear for my life. I shouldn't fear that bullets are going to go past my head. I should be able to walk down the street in peace. We should be protected. I heard the clergy of the Annunciation School say today, it's time to move our feet. Now, I'm from the Black church, and we do a call and response. So I want everybody to take a step forward. Right now, where you are, I want you to take a step forward. They said it's time for us to move our feet. I want you to look at the person next to you and tell them this. It's time to do something. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Jalila. Next up, we're going to have a prayer from Rabbi Ariel Lakach Rosenberg. And after that, we're going to have one more prayer and a closing prayer from Moms Man in Action.
You do not carry this all alone. No, you do not carry this all alone. This is way too big for you to carry this on your own. So you do not carry this all alone. Will you sing with me? You do not carry this all alone. No, you do not carry this all alone. This is way too big for you to carry this all alone. So you do not carry this all alone.
And with love to our beautiful piano player, I want us to hear each other, because it's about us talking to each other. We are so many people here, and we haven't heard each other's voices. So please sing with me, and sing it louder than you think you can. You do not carry this all alone. No, you do not carry this all alone.
Can I go longer? What?
This is way too big for you to carry this on your own. So you do not carry this all alone. To our children, you do not carry this all alone. To our parents, you do not carry this alone. To our teachers and our staff and our medical providers, you do not carry this alone. And to our legislators who must be so tired, you do not carry this alone. We are in this together, and part of our work in this moment as neighbors is to behave in a way that we start trusting each other. We do not carry this all alone. We are carrying this together. Oh, dear God, God of our ancestors, God of our children, God of future generations, be with us now, right here where we live. Be with us in our shaking, in our grief. Be with us in our resolute belief in the sanctity of houses of prayer and practice, in the preciousness of our houses of learning, in the power and beauty of every child. Be with us in our prayer. Comfort those families that are grieving tonight. Heal those whose bodies and spirits were wounded in the horrible violence heaped on Annunciation School. Protect our students, protect our teachers, protect our communities of prayer and service. Remind us how to keep building our world in justice and love. Standing here, I see the synagogue that I work at, and I see the elementary school where my daughter is going to be a first grader, and God willing, where my second daughter will be a kindergartner next year, and where my baby is going to be a kindergartner in 3 years. I am standing in my neighborhood, and I use the name of God in Hebrew, Shekhinah, which is the name of God that describes the presence that comforts the sick, that heals the wounded, that cries with us when we're crying and rejoices when we rejoice. And here's the secret in this word, Shekhinah, in this intimate friend of ours, God, is the name for neighborhood is shchuna. It's the same word. That our neighborhoods are the site of the divine. The way we treat each other and recognize each other, the way we practice not being afraid of each other and checking in and seeing, what do you need? What can I give you? How can I ask for what I need? How do we lift each other up? That's our work now. We're shaking. We are grieving. And we were hurting even before today. So our work now, my friends, my neighbors, is to be in the project of building this neighborhood way beyond this corner of South Minneapolis. So I want us to sing one more time, and let's see if we can hear it and believe it. You do not carry this all alone. No, you do not carry this all alone. This is way too big for you to carry this on your own. So you do not carry this all alone.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Ariel. Our last speaker before we wrap up with a closing prayer for this evening is a representative from the Catholic community who was so deeply impacted today, and someone I've known my whole life because he is the priest at my home parish of St. Joan of Arc, Father Jim Cassidy.
Good evening. I would like to take just a moment for us to experience the silence of this evening. We have heard a great amount. It's important for us to quiet our souls, to quiet our spirit, to be in this place. Take one moment, hear the nature around us. As my friend and colleague, Rabbi Ariel, has reminded us that this burden is too much for any one of us to carry. This is a burden, this is a challenge, an opportunity for all of us to come together. And we have heard the call tonight to come together. I want us to think about this one single day today. As I sat having breakfast with a friend, welcoming this new day and the warmth, the sun, the beauty of this day, not knowing, indeed, the tragedy that was unfolding just blocks from where I was sitting. Where were you this morning? What was going through your mind? What began to happen inside of your heart and your soul when you began to hear the news? And now tonight we gather in this park, quite likely not a single one of us ever expecting to stand here tonight, holding a candle, and seeing this many people in one place. None of us would have expected to be here tonight. But it is good that we are here tonight and together. Our mayor, Jacob Fry, said earlier this evening The important thing for us in this experience of loss is to not in any way distance ourselves in thinking of this as their children. In the same way that we frequently do, had this happened in Cleveland or Denver or Omaha or wherever, it's their children there. What makes us different tonight is this is our neighborhood. This is our home. And for Minnesota, this is an experience now for us that's a bit different. Minnesota Nice cannot squeeze through this in any way, shape, or form. These are our children. In order for us to grieve, in order to heal, in order for us to be empowered to bring about all the good things that we have indeed been challenged to do, and all of the right things that are calling for our attention and have called for our attention for a very long time. We must think tonight and commit to the fact that these are our children. I've had the privilege of journeying in Africa for the last 25 years. I'm the proud father of thousands of children in the townships and in rural Africa. I stand here as a proud parent of 25 years, knowing the experience and the challenge of the children of Africa, and how we as Americans like to think that's their children, that's their world. Tonight, it has come home to us. We're one community. I want to share a reading, and I found a friend and colleague who has a light for me, something we all need tonight. I want you to just still yourself and hear these words. I encourage us to know before we can move to action, and we need to move to action now, we need to be able to own this pain. We need to be able to own this community as our community. Action is important. It's critical. We also need to be able to center ourselves and indeed commit to the power of love. As this day closes, in all of its loss, its brokenness, I share these words of hope. Please think about this in regards to your life. That moment when it hits you that your life won't last forever, and you think about the people that you love deeply, and thinking about it aches. And you don't know if it's because sometimes you love people so much that it hurts, or because you wonder if you missed opportunities to love them, or could have loved them better. And you are reminded once again that there is nothing more important than love. The greatest single need and desire of humankind is love. To love is the greatest power and the freedom that we possess. Every thought, word, and action motivated by love changes the world. Love is the highest expression of what it means to be human. The chief characteristic of true enlightenment is love. The best I know to say is don't leave love undone. There may be things that you don't accomplish, attain, or achieve in this world, but don't let shrinking back from love be one of them. If you're fortunate, you discover that love is the only thing that really matters. Love heals everything, and love is all there is. On your way out of this world, you'll look back and see it was always about that. It was always about love. The rabbi had us all singing. I would not do such an injustice to you to sing to you tonight. However, I do want us to be interactive. I want us to share in the litany of remembrance. And after each of the stanzas that I say, if you would please respond by saying, we remember them. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember them. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them. In the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them. In the blueness of the sky and in the warmth of summer, we remember them. In the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joys that we yearn to share, we remember them. So long as we live, they too shall live, for they are a part of us. We remember them. I offer this final blessing on all of our steps and all of our journey as a community, both here in Minnesota as well as our worldwide community. Please take a moment to receive this blessing. May you know that absence is full of tender presence and that nothing is ever lost or forgotten. May the absences in your life be full of eternal echo. May you sense around you the secret elsewhere which holds the presences that have left your life. May you be generous in your embrace of loss. May the sore well of grief turn into a well of seamless presence. May your compassion reach out to the ones that we never hear from. And may you have the courage to speak out for the excluded ones. May you become the gracious and passionate subject of your own life. May you not disrespect your mystery through brittle words or false belonging. May you be embraced by God, in whom dawn and twilight are one. And may your belonging inhabit its deepest dreams within the shelter of the great belonging. May God bless our children. May God bless our neighborhood, our city, and the world community that we are all called to be a part of and to bring justice and peace. And I ask that blessing in the name of the Creator, the Redeemer, and the one that sanctifies us in love. Amen. Get some rest. Get some rest.
Before our closing prayer, I just want to thank 3 more people. Father Cassidy said that every thought, word, or action motivated by love changes the world. And there were 3 people who showed up tonight motivated by love. And the first is Angela Blackdeer. came right up to me at the beginning of the event and said, "Can I provide ASL interpretation?" And we hadn't had time to even think about that, and she's right there. She's right there doing it. So thank you so much, Angela, for that act of love. Casper Warren messaged me on Instagram and said, "Sometimes I do art therapy and sometimes it seems to help. Do you want me to come by?" And I said, "Yes, please." And so they showed up with their buckets of art supplies, and they were here to help folks process in that way, an act motivated by love given freely. Thank you so much, Casper. And finally to Eitan, who showed up with his bagpipes and said, "Can I play Amazing Grace?" and played that beautiful, beautiful rendition for us at the beginning. Thank you for that gift of love. And finally, we're going to close with a prayer. I ask when the prayer is over. Thank you all so much for being here. And the next act that we all need to take, as Father Cassidy said, is to go home, get some rest up, and be ready for the work that starts tomorrow. Mad Dads is here. They're taking care of us, but they need to get back to their work on the streets. So the next step is for us to clear the park so that the park districts can do their wonderful work, shut it down. Thank you so much all for being here this evening and for your act of love for your community and our children by showing up this evening. And with that, I would like to welcome up Michelle Hansen, who is a volunteer from Moms Demand Action, for our closing prayer.
Neighbors, let us pray. O most loving God, we raise our prayers in sorrow and pain. We pray for families torn by the violence to our schools, homes, and communities across our nation. As violence continues, leaving in its wake too many broken hearts and spirits by indescribable suffering, we ask for your love, peace, and compassion to touch our hearts. We pray for our elected officials. We ask for your wisdom for our leaders to find bipartisan, comprehensive approaches to gun violence prevention that focus on homicide, suicides, and unintentional shootings. We pray for ourselves. We ask for your courage to be signs of your love in the world by speaking and acting for peace, nonviolence, and justice. We turn to you, the God of mercy and peace, the God who wipes away every tear, to give us the strength to be instruments and forces of change, to be the messengers of unity and reconciliation. Amen.